Hello and good morning. This is Craig Kosminski with your pre-lab video for experiment number 10, cellular respiration and photosynthesis. We will begin by taking a look at the equation for cellular respiration. In this process, we look at the conversion of glucose, one energy molecule, into ATP, a different energy molecule, and specifically ATP being the energy molecule that is taken in by the cells and used for different processes within the cell. In this portion of the experiment, we're going to be assessing the impact that exercise has on the amount or volume of cellular respiration. And we're going to be measuring this in three different ways. We're going to be looking at the number of breaths you take over time. We're going to be looking at your heart rate, which is the number of heartbeats per minute. And we're also going to be taking a look at the relative amount of carbon dioxide production. And we're going to be measuring the carbon dioxide production using an acid-base indicator known as bromothymol blue, or BTB. When you begin this experiment, the color of the BTB will be blue. And as you convert it using carbon dioxide into a solution, it's going to become yellow. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the relative amount of time it takes for you to convert that solution from blue to yellow. And so we're going to be doing a bit of an experiment here where you're going to be collecting information on the amount of time it takes for you to convert the solution from blue to yellow. We're going to be measuring your breaths over time and your heartbeats over time. And you're going to be doing this in part A at rest, meaning no exercise. So in the very first part, you're just going to be sitting at your tables, collecting some data on the amount of time it takes for you to convert the solution from blue to yellow, the number of breaths per minute, as well as the number of heartbeats over time. And in part B, you're going to be doing the same thing, only you're going to be doing this after exercising. Okay, so you're going to be doing some sort of safe and effective exercise at your desks or in the lab. Jumping jacks are one alternative, or jogging in place, whatever it is. We just want to make sure that we control for it by making sure that everyone in your group does the same exercise. And again, you're going to be repeating the data collection process for the carbon dioxide production, the breathing rate, and the beats per minute. In part two, we're going to be taking a look at the opposite process. That is, we're going to be looking at the conversion that occurs within plants of ATP energy into glucose. Okay. And in photosynthesis, there are two types of reactions. These reactions are summarized very well in your textbook. The first one is called the light reaction, and the second one is called the dark reaction. And so implied in the light reaction is that this reaction is light dependent, meaning that it cannot occur without the presence of light. And so, again, in this part of the experiment, we're going to be using an indicator. This indicator is called DPIP, and we're going to be looking and measuring the change in the color of a solution. And we're going to be using this as an indicator of the amount of photosynthesis that is occurring. Now, you're going to be receiving a little bit of a detailed explanation tomorrow on the methods that we're going to be using in the experiment. But before tomorrow's lab, it's very important that you read through the entirety of this theoretical background here, listed on page 94, as well as the procedure listed here on page 95. We are going to be using a new piece of equipment this week, and we're going to talk at length about what this equipment is. It's called a spectrometer, and it's going to allow us to measure the amount of light that is passing through a solution. And what we will expect to see is a change in the amount of light that passes through the solution as a result of the solution experiencing a change in color. Make sure you read the pre-lab questions before coming to lab. This will prompt you as to what to be looking for and thinking about during the experiment. Again, the two parts are cellular respiration and photosynthesis. For this week's exercise worksheet, we are asking you to do some basic calculations looking at the conversion of food energy into stored chemical energy within the body. And so for the first question, it says Joe's average metabolic rate is 2,750 kilocalories per day. And it gives you a starting mass of 165 pounds. And it says if he consumes 3,000 kilocalories per day, calculate his weight after 30 days. And so, in order to solve this type of problem, you have to first figure out what the conversion factor is. And I'm just going to get you started on this first problem. We would note the difference between Joe's metabolic rate and his consumed calories. And what we see is that Joe is consuming an excess of calories on a daily basis. Specifically, if he's consuming 3,000 calories, but his metabolic rate is 2,750, then he has a net surplus of 250 kilocalories per day. And so, what the question is asking you is that if his initial mass or weight is 165 pounds, what will his weight be after 30 days? So, if you start this conversion with 30 days, then using our conversion factor here, you should be able to convert days to kilocalories and kilocalories to grams of fat and grams to pounds. And so, what you can convert essentially is to see how many pounds he will gain over a period of 30 days. And then the final part of this calculation will be to add that to 165. So, we'll set up the factor label method here for the first one, and then you can solve the rest on your own. If I start with the unit of days, I know that I have to convert days to kilocalories. Next conversion, I'm given the conversion of kilocalories to grams. So for every 9 kilocalories, that converts to 1 gram of fat. And then finally, we're given the conversion between grams and pounds. So this will give you the number of pounds that Joe gains over a period of 30 days. The final answer, however, you'll have to take that answer and add it to 165 pounds. So I've set up the dimensional analysis for you here. I would encourage you to attempt to solve this problem before coming to lab. You can also attempt to solve question 2, a very similar type of problem. Again, you're going to be looking at the difference between energy consumed versus the energy burned. For the second part of these calculations, we're asking you to take a look at equation or problems 3 and 4. However, we'll take a closer look at this information tomorrow during the lab. Finally, please make sure you take a look at the data sheet for tomorrow's experiment. You might want to just refresh your understanding of the rules of averages and how to determine the average, say, for these different values. And if you have any questions, as always, please make sure you reach out to your lab instructor. Thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful spring day.